Okay, so this is gonna be a quick one. I'm going to the bits. So basically just wanted to talk about a limiting belief that I've had for a while, and I've been dealing with it. And yeah, like nobody actually talks about this. So I basically feel like the whole hustle culture is being kind of racist to the academically smart people. And what I mean by this is like I very usually hear people say stuff like smartest are always the broadcast because they overthink and blah blah blah. And yeah, this actually has a core that makes sense. I've also read books why A students work for C students, and like this whole book was all about how the mindset of an A student that is a perfectionist usually does not let him hop into entrepreneurship, because business is actually a field that requires much risk, many failures, and usually A students are not used to an environment like this, and they cannot survive. So what I wanted to state on that is like, as an academically smart person and as an A student, I've been an A student my whole life, I just wanted to say like this whole concept of A students being good employees or whatever is actually very mistaken, and it made me feel self-conscious for almost a year, like ever since I hopped into business, because it was a limited belief for me. I was thinking like I am academically smart, and subconsciously I would be like, then I cannot be good in business because I overthink, I'm not a risk taker, and like whatever all these people say. The thing is that I might be academically smart, but I never actually had the negatives of an academically smart person. I never had like the limited point of view. I never had the I was never good at just copy and paste and not being energetic and being able to be creative. I was never like this. So I kind of subconsciously forced myself to develop this kind of characteristics in order to fit in the role of the A student and the academically smart person, which like I thought I was. The thing that nobody talks about though is that whenever these people talk about the academically smart people and the A students not being good entrepreneurs or not being able to survive into the business space, they never mean anything about like the IQ of a person or if you can solve math problems. This has nothing to do with business, but even if it had, it would be an advantage, not a disadvantage. Now, an A student refers mostly to the profile of the person. So an A student, by what those people mean, can actually be a person that's really bad at school, but is good at listening to other people, following rules, is afraid to take risks, is self-conscious, is perfectionist. Like, those are the characteristics of what people like to call an A student, and it has nothing to do with how smart you are. So like the book which I talked about before is something that actually helped me realize this and like cut off this limiting belief of mine, because I just realized that I may be good at school, I may like take good grades and stuff like that, but my profile fits way more to a C student, because like ever since I can remember myself, I've always loved taking risks. I've always loved trying new things out, being creative, and like the only thing that made me good at school was, I don't want to brag about it, but it really was just because I was, naturally gifted with some characteristics that school requires in order for someone to be deemed good. For example, good at math, good speech, and stuff like this. So I was never the kind of person to go and actually study for a test or whatever. So the moment I was actually able to separate the actual A student profile from the A student profile that those people meant, is the moment I got off this limiting belief out of my mind. I would feel very self-conscious, as weird as it might sound, just because I was good at school and I was, academically smart. And like, what I realized after all was that the A student that those people talk about and the smart person that those people talk about, it's all bullshit. It has nothing to do with what your IQ is or how smart you can be. Like, everyone loves to talk about how a person who is not talented can put the work in and can achieve anything, which is true, by the way. But I feel like nobody ever talks about the smart people, about how those people feel for having to reach other people's expectations. And when you're like a typically smart person and decide to do something different with your life, like business, there's always like those people who are gonna be like, A students or always work for C students, and yes, study hard because I wanted an engineer in the future and stuff like this. Yeah, alright, are you done? But anyway, what I want you to keep out of all this is that it really doesn't matter how smart you are in business. And even if you are deemed like a typically smart person, this is not a disadvantage. You do not need to start going worse at school to be a good business person. Yeah, nothing like this. It's all fighting limiting beliefs. And yeah, like, there's been times where I would just not study at school because I felt guilty for being an A student while also trying to be a businesswoman. And that really didn't make sense because I was trying to be bad, like, for real. So this was all a limiting belief. And yeah, if I want you to keep one thing out of this like complicated monologue, it would certainly be that no matter how typically smart or dumb you are, you can achieve whatever you want in life. It's all a matter of perspective and mindset. And never let anyone ingrain this kind of information in your mind. Like, this is something that nobody talks about. I just wanted to make reference on it. Take care.